Welcome everyone to VR Jungle, a Havoc podcast. This is your host, Geraldine. As you can see, that there was no intro today because I don't know where my file went. It just disappeared. So Chris got to laugh at me for the very first beginning of this start of the podcast because it was too unprofessional. I can't find my own intro. But anyways, like I said, this is the CEO and founder of Arcadia. So your name's Chris. Anything else about Arcadia that I need to know about besides CEO and founder? Like, what is it?
Well, first, hi, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Really appreciate the invite. Excited to just, chat, get to know each other. To answer your question, what Arcadia is a true mixed reality sport. It's the world's first stadium-sized mixed reality arena where athletes basically get to replace avatars in video games that are meant for broadcast audiences. So the games that we like design and make are meant to be incredibly fun to play, but also fun to watch. And we're essentially looking to solve a pretty big problem. Like our bet is on the future of sports and gaming.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people look at traditional sports and esports as like two separate things. We see Arcadia as the missing link. There's a few people, in this space trying to solve this problem. And from our point of view, we believe that it starts with a very large scale arena where, a lot of players can like run freely in the same shared space. That's where you get true athleticism and true like excitement, even the danger element of like, a lot of people wonder how are they not running into each other, and all that stuff. And it's just like, that's sports, like when you watch NASCAR, you watch the F1, you watch, football, whatever it might be, that extra element of danger is like something that, we value at Arcadia. And right now we're this like pretty much like this small like startup, this really like cool team that's come together and just cranking away, making these really awesome mixed reality prototypes and looking to solve this problem. And at this current stage, we're getting ready to solve that problem a little more publicly.
Yeah.
So we get sort of the community to engage with us and help us figure out what are the sports of the future going to be.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a little bit about us.
And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's like I have so many things going on in my head that I want to ask you in this short amount of time that we have. Like, I don't even know where to start or where I want to start because I know I'm going to say one thing. I'm like, no, I want to say something, go into something a lot deeper. But yeah, I definitely know what you mean by watching some of your videos. And if people want to kind of understand, if you want to go like a sidebar from this or from listening to this, the link is in the description. I have your whole link tree in there so they can see all your social media platforms. They can see your
Cool.
YouTube. They can see your website and kind of understand like what you mean, like that kind of danger of it. Because like that was my first thought when I looked at it. I'm just like they have full headsets on. And I know even sometimes when you do pass through, especially with the Quest 2, and then, the Cambria is not going to have that much problem with the pass through. We'll get to that. Don't worry. That's going to be a whole different thing. But sometimes you could feel that lag in the game. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is like, has there ever been times where it's like, is it just not pass through, or is it in the game but you're still alive in front of you people? And has anyone kind of gotten kind of worried about like where their surroundings are? Because obviously you have to put a huge boundary in this area, right?
Well, so when you say huge boundary, do you mean for the player itself, or do you mean like the boundary of the actual court that you're playing in?
So like before you even like start up the game,
Yeah.
say you have a 2v2 situation or that like basketball game you have right now is where you're shooting
Yeah.
hoops or you're shooting
Yeah.
the targets and stuff like that. So each one of those has to have a boundary or a play space. So does each
Mhm.
individual have to set that up, or does your software allow, say, like the initial person who is running the lobby, can they set the
Mhm.
room up themselves, and then when you load in, it puts you in that scenery already?
Yeah. So I think the best way to answer that question is talk about our platform and how it works.
Okay, yeah,
So some of it I'm obviously going to keep a little close to the chest because it's proprietary tech that like we're building.
yeah, makes
But
sense.
I could tell you from the athlete experience, you basically when you step into Arcadia, you show up at our, prototype facility and there are headsets on the floor ready to go. You put the headset on, you're in. Like
Hmm.
my my background was I used to be a UX UI designer and also a creative director,
Yeah,
and I really focus on experience like all the way, and removing friction from what's going on. Like our team basically takes on most of the friction so that the actual like players themselves, they only have like an amazing experience. And like one of the main comments I get from people, including like executives at Twitch, is holy shit, like I within 2 minutes I felt confident and safe. And
nice.
yeah, I knew the rules to the game. I had a blast. They don't realize that they've been playing for like half an hour. They're sweating, they're smiling, and their experience is just they're in the courts. And like the way we designed it, so most of the Arcadia games that you see, like a large majority of them, it's all happening in VR. It's not happening with pass through. Now, we call ourselves like a mixed reality sport because our platform isn't just a VR arena like you see at most LBEs. Like our platform includes the camera, and the camera can shift. Our code name for our camera is actually the Helio Cam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like the code name because it's actually inspired by the god of the sun in Greek mythology, because he had the power to see through dimensions.
Okay.
And we're just like our camera system can actually shift from a fully virtual lens to a mixed reality lens to an AR lens and then to reality, right? And so when you're in the room, basically we've got these like 3 cameras set up, players put on the headset, and the only thing they need to worry about is where they are in relation to each other, that is the first, if you're asking about fear, like that's the first thing people are afraid of.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
it's like
100%.
Trusting where the
technology
are.
yeah.
Trusting the technology.
Yeah.
And but the boundaries of the court, we just drew like a white line on the floor. We didn't even do like an extra fancy, like guardian that like, keeps you in a cage, because we want people to feel like they're in an open space. And yeah, like basically our intro, and I'm actually thinking it might be valuable for us to post a video where I literally just like walk someone through the game, and the audience gets to see like the POV of that one person while I'm walking them through. Which sometimes is underrated, like to just do like that more basic like stuff. But anyways, basically people step in, and then the first thing I do is if we've done up to 8 players, by the way, in our arena.
Dang, that's a lot.
So when we have like 8 players in there, more commonly it's like 4 to 6, to be honest. Not out of like the design, not out of the design of it, just out of like the availability of people, like random stuff like that. But when I have a lot of people in the game, it's their first time. We just did demos in Vegas. The first thing we do is everyone looks at each other, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!"
Yeah.
And then I have them sort of walk up to each other, and like I say, just give each player a light tap on the chest, and then there's this like aha moment, like, "Oh, I'm touching a virtual avatar, but the real person is there." Similar to anyone that's tried like the Void or Sandbox VR. Like they've had this sort of like magical moment where it's like I'm in a shared space with real people doing this thing, but they've never had it at this scale, because those experiences are usually within like 1,000 square foot arena, like a 30 by 30 foot thing, and like our play space is like 10,000 square feet. It's 100 by 100 feet. So like most of our games are designed to be played on a basketball court, and the space just feels so liberating, like so the initial. You get rid of that first fear of like, I don't know if that avatar is a real person or not. The second they do this, and then we have them do a fist bump test, and they realize how well calibrated it is. And to be specific, because I imagine your audience and yourself are like very smart and you want to know details. We don't have millimeter precision similar to like the OptiTrack sensors, of that are used like at Sandbox VR and stuff like that. We're about centimeter like precision, so it might be like a little off by like a centimeter or so, but that's the thing that we worked on the hardest, is this like calibration, co-location that works from our server. So I know I'm giving you a long rant, but
you're good. I'm loving it.
It answers your question.
I want it all, trust me.
So basically like the experience is like it works out of our server. So like we have a server that sort of like takes care of the like co-location and everything, and then people get that initial, we remove that fear. They see, oh, I can have a relationship with this avatar that's a real person there. And then the immediate next thing I do is I show them there's like a cool like Arcadia menu. They're in the Arcadia space. They see the stadium, and I start flipping through games, and then I show them how we invent games. We had this amazing concept artist, Nick Ladd. If you don't know him, he's an absolute genius in VR. He is the creator of I'm forgetting the exact name of it right now. It's like that he did the Multiverse Bakery, I believe, or
Okay.
I forget what it's called exactly. But he basically is a quill animator, absolute genius, and you can find his stuff on the Oculus Store. But he literally painted some of the first designs for our games. So the first thing
cool.
I have people do is I show them like the still 3D like volumetric like thing of like an Arcadia game concept like design, and then I have them walk through it. And as they walk through it, they don't even realize they're walking in this massive thing. They're just like appreciating everything.
Yeah.
And then we get to the other end of the court, and then they're like, "What the fuck? Like I just walked, 28 meters. Sorry, I'm Canadian. We use the metric system.
Oh, you're good.
Like, let's say I just walked 100 feet.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Holy shit!" And then you see people go, "Is the calibration still as good as where we started?" And then you see them fist bumping again, and
really,
as soon
that's pretty cool.
As soon as that happens, it's over. Then they're just like, "I want to play a game." Then you turn on a game, we explain the rules really quick, and then people are just running and playing, and it's done. Like that's usually how fast the confidence comes into the games that they play at Arcadia.
Yeah, and so you said that you have a precision on like the fist bumps and the chest and everything like that. Do you ever like, is there a buffer of like even a bit to where you really have to push into it to touch, just kind of for a safety thing, or do you really just kind of push the constraints that it's pretty much almost 1-to-1 on touching?
So occasionally there is a bit of a buffer, like depending, like it isn't always perfect, and anyone that knows how inside out tracking works, lighting conditions have an impact on it, like patterns have an impact on it. So we do have, it all depends on like the degree of player that you are too. So
like how intense you are, like how competitive you are as a player.
Exactly. So like I've actually played Arcadia against an Olympic athlete. His name's Sébastien Toutin. Yeah, he actually won gold at the X Games as well. He's a snowboarder.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, like, I've played against other athletes, and I usually get my little, like, confident moment of, like, I got to beat an athlete at my own game.
Right, you're right.
This guy, like, just absolutely destroyed me, like, crushed me. Because he has, like, no fear. He has a complete winner's, like, mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't need any of the, like, extra safety measures. Like, he was just, like, in my face and, like, making sure he was winning the fucking game, like, the whole time. Sorry, I keep swearing.
No, you're good. It's allowed. It's allowed for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I put the little check mark for explicit, so anything go. Who knows? It's live, so I have to prepare for everything, so it's all good. But so with that, like, and if people don't know, definitely I highly recommend going to watch the clips that you have for it, because there's one that I watched recently where you were all running around stealing the ball from each other and hitting the targets back and forth, and they weren't hesitating. You all were going pretty freaking fast, and not only that, that one competitively playing, and then the one where you're running through the maze is also, it's like that's full sprint, like that's people actually running through it. And from watching what I could tell, like they gave no cares that they were going to run into each other or if they're going to run into a wall or anything. So obviously you build the trust with people. So that's definitely a good thing. And I didn't notice, like, if I'm correct, do you guys have something going on with like Looney Tunes?
Yeah. So there's so much I want to talk about. So yeah, we did a partnership with Warner Brothers last year when they were launching Space Jam, which was super exciting before the movie came out, because like the movie itself, was, like, let's just be honest. But I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about like everything else you just said. So I don't know where to go right now, because
I told you I have so much that I want to talk to you about that we're trying to cram in this hour, because I know that you have other stuff going on. That's why I definitely think we're gonna have to redo this more into depth.
Well, I'll touch on one thing quickly, and then I'll jump back on the Looney Tunes thing. So, first of all, we have this partnership with Looney Tunes. It's like, for the next 3 years, we can continue making like Space Jam content with the Looney Tunes stuff. and we have an ongoing relationship with Warner Brothers. Prior to Arcadia, that was sort of my job. I was a creative director, like basically like taking projects from ideation to final execution for like big clients, including Universal Studios, Warner Brothers, HBO, and people like that. And um, one of the main things that I actually got to work on, which was like the craziest project I ever worked on, was I directed and produced Tom Cruise's first virtual reality film, which documented him doing a stunt in a zero gravity plane and premiered at South by Southwest, and
Uh-huh.
managed to convince Universal to give us the assets from Weta for the opening Universal titles. And there's a whole friggin' story there that's like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the and actually figuring out how to get a VR camera working in a zero gravity plane with an A-list actor like TC was like a complete like just it's a whole story in itself. But
Yeah,
the
that
main
just
thing I wanted
sounds
to say
mind
was,
blowing right there. So you got to meet him?
yeah, I got to work with him,
Oh, that's
and
pretty
I got
cool.
to work with him with his like stunt coordinator Wade Eastwood, and also with an astronaut, which was like that was the actual dream of mine. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid.
Hmm.
That didn't happen. But getting to work with his name is Jean-Francois Clairvoy, like a legit astronaut that was on the ISS, like International Space
Oh, that's
Station,
cool.
like calling me up and being like, "Hey, Chris, just to let you know, your your Steadicam technology is not going to work up there. There's no gravity, so that's not going to work." I'm like, "Oh fuck," like you can't mess around with like an actual like guy that understands like the physics of
Oh
zero G.
yeah,
But
yeah,
um, I went on a tangent there. What I actually wanted to say before, because you were talking about the confidence, like people running
yeah,
in Arcadia, it's easy to say like, oh, it's just the Arcadia magic, and like, like we just sprinkle some fairy dust and it just works. But
yeah.
I want you to know, like, it did not start that way, like at all. Like we started by walking when we first tried making this stuff work.
Hmm.
The sync between players was not centimeter precise. It was like meters. It was like meters off. It was like sometimes it was 6 to 15 feet off. So the level
Dang.
of danger
Yeah,
was
that's yeah.
really bad. And like we started testing like in a college, and it was terrifying. Like we started with backpack PCs,
Oh
and
man.
the Oculus was the Rift S, I believe, which was like inside out track,
Yeah,
like PC
yeah.
headset. And I remember being like really scared because we were in my college and we convinced all these like students to like try out, and then we selected the Alpha 12 team, and watching them run for the first time, like I was running alongside them the whole time and like being really careful.
Yeah.
And my co-founder worked really hard on cracking what the problem was, because those headsets, they're quality assured for a living room size space.
Hmm.
That they're quality assured for that. And what we learned was that, all the headsets are kind of different, and they're not quality assured for that big of a space. They don't need to be. So we sort of had to add an extra layer of tech to make sure that they could work in that large of space. And first times watching strangers play and coming close to coming into contact with each other, it was so scary. Like I had a whistle. It was
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like
that's funny.
be super careful, and it took a lot of like time to get to the point where okay, it's safe now.
Hmm.
And then just realizing like actually two of the students kept coming really close to each other in that maze game you were talking about. We call that, the code name for that game is Parallels. It's
Yeah.
actually inspired by Frogger, by the way.
Cool.
And there these two college kids in particular. They kept, and we were co-ed, so we had like guys and girls. They kept coming close to colliding into each other, and then we realized like, oh, they have a crush on each other. That's why they keep running into the same corners and doing the same things. It's actually like so funny to see that. But yeah. So just to say, like, it didn't start that easy, and
Hmm.
you're right. Like people didn't have confidence in the system right away. It actually took like a year to get to the point where okay, like we have no problem, like come in, play, and like we can go.
Yeah, and so one thing that I really want to talk about, especially when it comes to VR physics and like being in there, motion sickness is a huge thing that a lot of people have to battle within the VR headset. Now, do you feel, especially just singling out your game, since you are physically doing things And the biggest thing why people get motion sickness is because your brain really can't figure out what you're doing, but you're still doing something. And it's like, oh, you're falling from a building or you're flipping a go-kart, but you're still standing in place. And your brain's like, I think I need to like brace myself or catch myself. Now, has anyone like on a rating, on a ratio, like what's the average person that said like I might get sick in this game, or is it kind of like none?
Okay, so that's a good question, and also the way that you explain that is exactly one of the main reasons that causes motion sickness. So in terms of the ratio, I would say about 30% of the people that come to play or like who have like the privilege to come to like a private demo or anything, they will ask that question. Will I get motion sickness?
Yeah.
Probably closer to 40% of the people will ask, actually. And it's usually people who have tried VR before.
And they've had a bad experience.
And they've had a bad experience, or VR developers, or they heard of someone that's had a bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
People that have never tried VR before and are just excited about what we're doing, they don't even ask that question. Then the people who do ask, and then the people who have played Arcadia, it's maybe like, I would say it's less than 1% have said that they had motion sickness, and they usually have they had an issue beforehand, which is like a medical condition with like their sight or something. Mm-hmm. So you're absolutely right. The main thing that causes motion sickness is when different senses in your body are sending separate signals to your brain. So like when your feet are planted on the floor or your body is sitting in a chair, and your mind knows I'm not moving, mm-hmm. But your eyes and ears are telling it I'm flying through space.
Exactly.
You know? Like there's two signals that cause nausea. It's similar to when you try and read in a moving car or like on a bus or something, mm-hmm. like that will cause that.
Yeah.
In Arcadia, that's another big thing people say as you're walking around. It's like, and these are usually people that are in the know. So it's usually like developers or other like executives from like other companies that have tried VR before. They walk around and they start laughing and they're just like, I'm not feeling any motion sickness at all. Or like they ran our game for like 10 minutes and they're sweating and they feel great and they're just like, what happened there? Like, what did you solve? And the truth is, we didn't really solve anything. It's just like true locomotion. Like it's not a joystick moving me around. All your movements are one-to-one.
Do you move that joystick away? Is it turned off so people can't move out of it? Yeah, because you'd have to, right?
We use it as a debug sometimes. Like so, like when it's our team in there, like working on games and stuff. Like we have it for ourselves, but no, we don't turn it on for.
Yeah, so you have both turned off. You have the one that moves you, and then the snap turn. You have that as well turned off as well. Then. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's all free roam.
Yeah, and that's why like a lot of people like they tell me all the time like I'm in a small little area, but I prefer free roaming any day. And I turn, especially when I'm playing like games like competitive like Contractor, or even any type of first-person shooter. If they don't give me the capability to turn my analog stick off, I have a really hard time playing it because if I'm jumping around and making quick twitch moves, me doing that snap turn literally jerks you 45 degrees. Some of them even go 180 degrees. I'm like, I don't want that. Yeah. I don't want that. Yeah. That literally messes me up. So
it's natural.
Yeah, and so I don't understand. Like I hear people all the time they're playing sitting down. I understand that if you have like a disability, that's all you can do. But those people that I know that are very, I have a buddy that's a very athletic individual, and he sits down and plays. And I'm just like, how? He's like, well, it's just comfortable. Or like people that I know, like I stream a lot. A lot of the streamers want to be front and center all the time. I'm like, that's not entertaining. Like you're literally forcing yourself to do something that's not natural. Where half the time when someone wants to watch VR, like if you want to watch someone that's playing like really nice VR stuff, is Beard and Headshots. Like he's got that whole entire freaking running thing, and like he's taking immersive. Like now that's when I'm talking about watching real stuff is like that. And so it's now taking your game to where you're free roaming. Like, have you tried to push this to like TikTok and like social media? Because you guys have something that has not been done at all for the gaming. And so one, I have like kind of two questions I want to wrap up into this. It's like one, how much media are you going to be bumping into it? Because so far I've been seeing quite a bit of your YouTube videos and stuff on Twitter and stuff. But I know TikTok has got such a beautiful algorithm that I think you guys could really make some really good content there. They pushed us out, and then two, it's just like, is this the same category as VR gaming? Is it an esport, or are you guys going to a V sport or like a VR sport? Like,
Those are all like the right questions, and like that's part of like what's the most exciting about the situation we're all in as like a VR community. Like I've been working in virtual reality for over 8 years now, right? Like I've been a super fan. I've been sort of a little more stealth because some of the projects I was working on were secret projects when it was like for Universal and stuff like that. And also when we were working on Arcadia, we wanted to make sure to get things right before like launching like publicly. And so one, we're going to be pushing out a lot of content. Like we see ourselves as a sports media company,
mm-hmm.
so we don't see ourselves as a VR company. In fact, like we raised like a very healthy seed round during like VR winter. So like when no one was investing in virtual reality, we managed to push through and get like some big checks out of the Bay Area, out of Europe, and out of Canada. And it was predicated on the fact that we're positioning ourselves as a sports media company with an opportunity to create totally revolutionary content that isn't available in the sports market, isn't available in the esports market, and takes like VR esports seriously and solves the problems that I believe like the true VR community and the true like athletic like VR like gamers, that have competed professionally are looking for. To
Yeah,
to us, it's sort of like let's get them all in the same room. This is not esports, It like when
correct.
I
Yeah,
looked at when I was watching like the VR league and like all these amazing ambitious projects that people put a lot of effort and work into, and I see all the awesome games that are being created, I do think that sometimes they miss the mark in terms of like the fact this is a new category. And although it will need to borrow from the sports industry and from the esports industry, it still needs to be respected as its own thing
yeah,
while like taking like the right ingredients, right? So on our side, we were like, okay, one, to get more to the point with your question, because I know I could ramble a lot.
no, you're good.
So one, we're a sports media company. So we actually have a TikTok right now. It's arcadia.tv on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. We're on Instagram, arcadia.tv. Twitter is the only one where it's arcadia underscore TV underscore. Um, but the current content that we're showing, internally we call them the Arcadia play tests. So these are games where we've challenged each other at like friendly competitions and challenged
Yeah,
our friends to come like try the game. We have this exciting piece of content coming out for Halloween, which it's going to be a tradition that we're going to do every year. We're going to call it Arcadia's Haunted Arcade. So
okay.
we choose a classic arcade
Mm-hmm.
game, bring it to life in our stadium size arena, and like have some fun. So keep an eye out for that. It's actually a really cool one that they're going to be filming on Thursday. And how we want to roll this out is, so we've worked on our tech enough to be able to consistently post content. Like you've been noticing, like daily
Oh, it's a lot.
original.
Hey, you guys. I
Yeah,
was like, you like didn't email me back. I'm just like, I know why he's not emailing me back. He's literally making 1,000 videos a day. And I'm just like, hey, you take your time. I'm gonna let you do whatever you want. If like, I was like, all right, we're good.
yeah,
So yeah, you guys really pumping out a lot of
yeah.
stuff.
Thanks, man. It's obviously not just me. It's the team. We got like Mike Only, who's like the head of like video production, and Guillaume Cote, who's like my co-founder, like running the system. And we just hired a new CTO, Mike Hadley, who left Meta actually to join our team and
Nice.
used to work at Major League Baseball and also worked at Riot Games on the esports teams. So, like this guy's an absolute rock
Mm-hmm.
star,
Yeah, sounds like it.
like joining in. So they're building the content, but expect daily content, expect new stuff. In the first phase is going to be us playing the game, but we're getting ready to open it up to a private tournament where we want to invite, some key players in the community. To name a few, like we've been talking to like Tech Manju, we've been talking to Pesky Cashew.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously Team Infinity and like a lot of cool stuff there. And like we want to, anyone else that's like really excited about Arcadia and like wants to make the trip and like try the tech and like compete, in like a cool like tournament, like a private tournament.
Yeah.
That's going to be like phase two, and then phase three is opening it up to the public so that we actually seek out like who is this new breed of athlete? Like, is it predominantly male? Is it female? Are they? Is it gamers? Is it athletes? Is it VR gamers? Like, who is actually going to be the champions, like the pro level athletes, like in this new category of sports that we believe is going to be the dominant category? So, like anyone that's following on to our journey right now, like that's how the content is going to evolve. It's going to be like running this massive experiment, celebrating like this new category of sports,
Yeah.
inventing new games, and like finding like who are going to be the pro athletes. Like maybe it's you. Like I don't know. Like how we met, and like I would love for you to come play, right?
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
kind of that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, you said Tech Man, and it's his birthday today, so I just want to, who knows if he's
Oh
watches,
yeah.
but yeah, I think it's like 26th birthday. You kept on saying that name, I'm just like, man, I believe it's his birthday today. So happy birthday to
Happy
him.
birthday, bro.
He makes some really good
Yeah.
content. I really like his stuff.
Yeah. He's really solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, Pesky's a good one also. And yeah, you're definitely right. Like, who's really going to combat at something like this that is really not categorized yet? You guys kind of get to make your own category for this in reality, and not only that, but these people that you're inviting, it's like not only would I mix in true VR enthusiasts and players that actually play at a high level, but also finding athletes that might be playing at a collegiate level. I'm not saying get a pro, that's gonna be pretty hard. But if you get someone from like a local college that is collegiately playing athletically, and then put this on and just like, maybe you want to get a little bit of VR experience, or like say, hey, this is VR. I'd really be interested on really seeing that, because sometimes you think of a VR enthusiast, I'm a big dude. Like me playing that game, I'll be sweating and having a heart attack within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, which funny enough, so we played with Sputnik last Sunday in Vegas. It's a bit of a blur. So much happens. Steven yeah, and he showed up and he was like, I'm not in shape to play this. And I'm like, you're a VR esports athlete, like, come on. He's like, can I smoke a cigarette while I'm playing? I was like, fuck, no, you cannot. Like, that doesn't work, And we really had a blast playing. And on that same day, we had like a former pole vaulter and a gymnast, like someone who like trained to be like Olympic level athlete. I don't believe he was. And it was absolutely mind blowing to like watch him play. So with what you just said there, like I think one of our missions is not just to legitimize VR sports, and you were talking about like the categories V sports and this and that. I don't know what we're gonna call this thing.
Yeah.
For now, I'm just calling it Arcadia.
Sure,
like
yeah,
Arcadia
yeah.
sounds like a place where these games can exist. Arcadia sounds like a place, right?
Yeah.
So, and in fact, like Arcadia started as the Arcadia Games. It's kind of like the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
And what we like about the Olympics, there's a lot that works with the Olympics, and a lot of it is sort of outdated in my opinion. But the idea of like a lot of games, a lot of different athletes playing different games, I think that syncs up with gaming culture. Like gamers don't only play one game, like we like
Correct.
to like try different things, but we become professionals at one or a few. But to get back to what I was saying, like one of our main missions is to level the playing field across these like dimensions of play. So like getting ourselves in a place where we can get a pro athlete and an esports streamer and a VR athlete and an Arcadia athlete playing the same game. What I mean by that is like designing a game where an audience at home can play and interact with the game from their PC, while a gamer like yourself, who may not feel like you can like run at full speed yet, maybe we inspire you to do that, right? Like even I'm not the most fit person, and like Arcadia's inspired me to level up myself, to be honest. It's like we want to design a game where, for example, we have Super Giant Mecha Ball, which is like early stage prototype, where like you don't have to run if you're the giant mech goalie, and like like a legit pro VR athlete right now that is used to playing in their like safe space and play the giant mech and Super Giant Mecha Ball and have an amazing play experience, while the other athletes are like running around the field trying to score points and do stuff. So one of our goals is to make it seamless no matter what type of player you are, and invite people to like step in. We're not just making a game for one category of player, basically.
Yeah, and so the cool thing I think about this is that I think the the biggest downfall of this generation coming up. I grew up in the '90s where I lived outside. I think I saw my parents when they finally rang the dinner bell. But now you see these kids, all they want to do is sit down and play Fortnite, and they're not going out as much as they do. Do you think that making a game like this might help influence, children that are no longer going out still get that, because a lot of times they're playing these video games because it's just a major, like, endorphin rush that they're just having so much excitement going on that it pleases them, it's addictive. Do you think that you are finding a way to maybe fill that need, but then still get the activity that a child needs? Have you guys really thought about how to battle that?
That's the mission.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
That's what wakes us up, every day. That's what keeps us like through like challenges. Like we've gone through really hard times. Like it's not easy to build a tech startup building tech like this. Yeah, man. Like every Monday we have a ritual where we just like come together and ritual sounds like a little more intense than it is, but it's just like a team, like a team coming together like at a certain rhythm. We don't wear like
sounds like you were Tom
anything.
Cruise for too long.
No.
That was a cult joke.
Yeah, I know. No, so we're not a cult. But basically every Monday we come together and we sort of like, repeat the 10 like, no, I'm kidding. But we basically say like our mission is to inspire people to take care of themselves as much as they're taking care of their avatars. Like that's step one. And like the way we're going to accomplish this goal is by showing them a revolutionary sport that, that is unlike anything they've seen before, that combines the best of gaming and traditional sports together. And like, the average age of people watching the NFL is like in their 50s now. And this is actually like a big problem like going on in the sports industry. And they're trying to find ways to engage with the youth, but they're doing it in all these janky ways. Like there's like Nickelodeon moments during like the NFL and stuff. And it's just like, it's cool, it's a step, but it's not really going the right direction. So end goal here is we have, Arcadia servers at public parks, and like, as the headsets become more ubiquitous and they don't cost as much as the MetaQuest Pro and like stuff like that, kids can, I imagine a future where I get to tell my kids like, hey, why don't you go outside and play some video games already? Like that's the dream. Like you want it to be that accessible. But it's going to take a lot of hard work to like get to that point.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have these over in Canada. Jeez, I said
Canada.
Canada. Jeez, I said that the other day. Canada.
Hashtag Canada.
I said that the other day, and
Arcadia.
And my freaking stepdaughter laughed at me. She was like, "What did you just say?" I'm just like, "Oh, it's Canada. Gosh dang it!" But anyways,
but it's like Arcadia.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, I think that's probably why I was mixing them all up together. But do you all have YMCA's?
Yeah.
So I think that like just like to start off, like to get these in people's hands is like doing it in like YMCA's, like get it all in their gyms if the YMCA has a gym, and just like have literally like a boy and girls club, or kids, adult league, whatever you want, and really start putting this in the hands of people. I think that'd be like, that's my vision right there. Like I can see for you all is like going to a YMCA and it's like that's there because they could take a kid wouldn't even have to have a headset yet. It gets them influenced in it, and then it kind of pushes to that thing eventually when they get headsets and they can go to their park and do it and that stuff like that. So that's
definitely.
And do you know like when you all plan on like kind of wanting to go more commercial, or can you say, or are you just kind of playing along with it and still trying to get it 100% to the point where you want it?
So that's a tougher one to answer because like. One of your questions was like when do you want to do that? The answer is like right now.
Yeah.
I'd be ready to do that now.
Yeah,
right? I was ready to do that last year, right? The challenge is in the friction of the technology, And so while we are in Montreal right now, which is like a huge hub for innovation, like that's where IMAX was founded, and like a lot of like gaming studios, like a lot of great games like get made there. We are like, I'm in San Francisco right now. I spend a lot of time in LA and in San Francisco. We have a lot of partners like in both places and investors. We are working towards moving our headquarters to California, most probably LA. And the phase 2 of our funding and everything we're going to do is like start opening Arcadia sports centers. So like a legitimate, I know metaverse is a dirty word and like I don't really like that word anymore, but like you get what I mean, like a
Yeah.
legit mixed reality sports center
Mm-hmm.
where you go there and there are arcades and there's like a healthy like snack bar restaurant, there's like locker rooms and a spa, and there happens to be like 3 to 4 really awesome large scale Arcadia courts, and people can come and practice and play, kind of like your modern
Oh,
YMCA.
you have my
You know what I
head
mean?
burning right now.
Yeah.
Oh, what if as soon as they get to the door, they put
Yeah.
on a headset and the whole
Oh yeah.
entire building
Yeah.
is, Arcadia.
Well, that now you just guessed one of the things
No,
that are is already, yeah, which is good. No, but that's a
that
good thing because
dude,
that's
that would blow my
good
mind.
ideas are good
I would
ideas.
go
Yeah.
there all the time.
Yeah.
Like, imagine going there and then like,
Yeah.
especially for like those single people out there, they can hide behind their thing and just don't take your headset off to see who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can really let
Yeah.
loose.
Blind date nights would be interesting in a space like that
Exactly.
for
You
sure.
show up,
Yeah.
they're an iguana,
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
peacock. It's just like it's a really weird thing. You keep
Yeah.
flapping your
Yeah.
feathers at her. It gets weird.
It works.
Yeah, it
It works
works.
though.
It works. Yeah, it's all
Oh,
about
you
it.
just said something too that I am excited about. It's like, when we talk about interoperability and all that stuff, and forget the buzzword of that, but I'd love to see a future where if someone's a developer or a 3D modeler, you know, they're at home and they design their avatar and then they step into an Arcadia sports center and they just get to surprise and shock everyone
Hmm.
with like the avatar that they made, rather than all of that control being in the hands of like the developers. Like I'm excited by that future where you yourself can potentially hire a 3D modeler animator
That's cool.
and create your like awesomely animated avatar, and then you just show up at an event or something and it's just like, yo, check out my new skin, and it's something you made. Like getting to a future where that's possible is something I'm definitely like pumped about.
Yeah. See, I'm not sometimes not very good at art, and I'll definitely probably walk in as like the
Yeah.
doodle that SpongeBob drew that became evil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's who
I
I would
love
show.
that.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That was my favorite cartoon. I used to watch my little brother actually. It's just the best. And that's one of my favorite episodes by
oh,
far.
it's definitely one of my
Yeah,
favorite episodes as well. But
yeah.
I know that we eventually have to wrap this up because you're a busy person. But I
Got
want,
about 10 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, and so I know that I'm about to throw this at you, and I know we could probably sit here and do an hour with this. So guess what? We
Mm.
get to do it in like 5 minutes. And so the thing is that you gave me a nice little segue into tech that you need and everything. And obviously we know about the Cambria, the Quest Pro. How will you start using the AR to the VR type thing, especially with full color pass through? Like, will you have the ability to, for some people to want to live in that cartoon thing and play the game, or can they have full color pass through and still see everything, but still see the actual person in front of them? Like, is that a thing you plan on doing?
So that is a thing we plan on doing. I was mentioning before, like we've been thinking about this for a long time, and like my co-founder Guillaume worked at a company called VR Vana, and they built a full color pass through mixed reality like headset. And I got to test this headset like 6 years ago, and I remember when I tried it, I was like, if Apple is working on AR glasses,
Yeah.
this is the absolute best piece of hardware to prototype with. Because I remember putting it on for the first time, there was no latency. Like I looked like a fool. Like even like some of the biggest pros and experts in like the VR industry at the time were looking at
Mm-hmm.
me like I was being ridiculous. I was like too excited, but I was just like touching things and just realizing like there's no delay on this
Yeah.
on this like thing. Now, I can't say that I've tested the MetaQuest Pro yet. Like I haven't, and I'm concerned that there might be a bit of a delay and there might be other stuff.
They didn't
But
show it.
all this,
A lot of people were bugged
sorry,
out. They really didn't show the full latency of it. And I think people were still worried that
I
there
know.
might be latency. I don't know if a lot of people didn't catch it, but a lot of the tech nerds were like, "Are you gonna show it? You gonna show
Yeah,
it like live? No."
it's like show it off. Like I really think that honestly, like I feel like this whole move is out of fear of what Apple might be like launching, and like Mark is just like trying to maintain like
Yeah.
some market share like desperately, like because there's a lot of hits like happening there. But all this to say, like yes, like the ambition like the future of this next computing revolution that we're all in right now is mixed reality. I don't believe it's just augmented reality. I don't think it's just VR. It's both.
So you think
That means
you're talking
that,
about XR
yep,
then?
yeah, XR is, to me, XR is it. So like we're going to be designing games that allow you to shift between the two. And if you
Yeah.
look at our content, if you go and check out our content on, TikTok and Twitter and
All
Instagram,
links in the description.
yeah, cool. Well, you'll thanks for that. You'll see that like we play with that. Even like our first like the experience people are gonna get the most is like through our content. You don't need a VR headset to put that on. And when you're watching our content, you see an augmented reality camera, it transitions to a full VR view. You then see their avatars. We're really excited about legs. I know a lot of people aren't super excited about legs, but
It's the
like we
biggest
did.
meme.
I know. But like I'm sure you've heard of the full body tracking company Xcent. Like we did prototypes with that, and it was so sick.
Hmm.
But then it's like so heavy on the networking side to like make that work together. I'm
Yeah.
actually planning on dropping that old video on Twitter soon. But all this to say, like I think what's cool about the future is I'm gonna want to play some augmented reality games sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to play a fully VR game sometimes. I'm gonna want to be able to. I'm gonna want to create a game like our Parallels racing game where people are running through the maze. I want to play that game where it starts in AR, and then I'm running with people, and then we cross through a portal, and now I'm
Oh,
fully
that's cool.
engulfed in a VR space. And I want to play with those realities. Like I want to
Hmm.
shift with that stuff, right? And I think those are going to be the coolest games because it's cool to see people express themselves in another dimension. Like it. I want to see not only the athlete. I want to know who their icon is. Like who is their avatar? Like
Yeah.
it's similar to
Hmm.
wrestling. When you think of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy
Yeah,
Savage,
they're
like
personas.
yeah, like you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, like that's not who they are, but that's the idealized version of them, right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like it becomes them. It's like I want to see that too, and I think the best way to do that is through true mixed reality, like XR content that allows you to shift between both of them.
Yeah, I need a TikTok right now of Dwayne Johnson loading into your game as a rock.
Yeah,
I think
as a rock.
that'd be gold. You'd get millions of
Yeah,
views. So
yeah,
so yeah, I definitely agree that like Europe might also be onto something, making some type of like portal game to where you have to go through portals and you take you through different realities and stuff. And another fun
yeah.
game that I'll have to spitball it with you is like I don't know if you have what it's called the pacer test.
What's that exact? Oh yeah, like the
So you
beep
go the
test.
beep test back and forth, but now
Beep.
imagine doing the pacer test, but then putting landmines and all sorts of things to where you still have to get to the beep, but if you, yeah, you gotta watch out for the mines. It's like you're in war and you're getting shot at the whole entire time. You're just freaking running to do the pacer test the whole time. There you go.
Can I
Free idea.
can I take that one?
Free
Is that
idea.
free?
Free idea.
Okay, because parallels gets compared to the pacer test a lot. We call it the beep test. And we originally it's called parallels because it's supposed to be racing through parallel dimensions.
Hmm.
And the first 10 levels people keep seeing on our social media, that's meant to be the tutorial. And
Yeah.
then you go into like a different dimension and it's either like you're in space and you're dodging asteroids, or you're underwater and you're dodging sharks, or we had a World War II one, but we felt like that had been played out. But we had one which was in hell and it's like the floor is lava.
Oh
But I
yeah, yeah.
love I love the mines, and I actually would love, this is why I'm gonna plug legs again because I think legs are so sick. But like if you imagine like
Blowing a leg
athletes,
off.
Arcadia athletes running, and then if you hit that mine, just like the ragdoll effect of like things
Yeah.
just like explode, that would be a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna share that one with the team for sure if you're cool with that.
Oh
I'll,
yeah.
I'll credit you.
Oh,
I'll credit you with the
sure.
idea, but
I
yeah,
love credited, but hey,
yeah,
I had to tell you that. I was like, oh yeah, you can take that all the
that's
time.
funny. Yeah.
Is there one last thing that you kind of want to spitball out there? Send people a certain direction. Any news before we wrap it up so you can get to your next thing?
I would say the main thing I want to say is, keep your eyes peeled for what we're about to do. Like we have a lot of surprises coming up. Keep watching the content. Follow us. Definitely for our early adopters or early community, there's going to be like rewards that we want, to give you guys. And whoever it is, like come out of the woodworks and like start talking to me because we're definitely doing stuff in public now. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we launched last year, when we were showing like some trailers and stuff like that, it was like a tough time to like to launch that stuff. But now we're at a place where we're consistently delivering content like daily on these channels. So definitely like reach out and let us know what you'd like to do. We're getting ready to like open this up a little more, and I'm really excited for some of this stuff. I can't plug everything, but essentially,
it's fine.
I don't want to, I don't want to set the expectations too high, but because I definitely want to show people where we're at rather than just, where we're going.
Yeah.
But if you if you really love VR esports, VR sports, V sports, whatever you want to call it, whatever this thing is that we've all been trying to like make like really cool. And if when you hear me say that the real way to do this is by having a stadium-sized mixed reality arena, by having an arena where you can truly run and potentially tackle one of your, competitors or one of your friends, then, give us a follow, check out what we're doing, and give us your feedback, man. Like, I want to know, like, if our games suck, like, I want to know so that we make different games, And if you think they're cool, well, I want to know that too. But definitely, like, engage with us and let us know what's up. And we're going to keep delivering cool content. And, coming in early means that you're going to get to be one of the first people to witness a company put all their bets in one direction, which is this future of mixed reality sports. We are putting millions of dollars at this. We are putting our blood, sweat, and tears at this.
And it looks like it too.
It's a lot of work, man. And but we have fun doing it too. I'm sure you've seen some of.
I've seen it all. I watch all your content, man. I watch it.
Thanks, man.
Oh, I watch it all because I'm there with you, because I think of these things about kids not going out and playing, or like, just like not having activities anymore, to where like I'll be 30 this year. I don't go out and play baseball, football, I work out an hour, if that, a day. But I also like being physically active. I used to go play soccer all the time, but I'm too busy for that. But I love VR, and I'm so passionate about it. I would probably, not probably, I would 100% go to one of your things with buddies that I know also would love VR, just because it would be something that just to get away with. Because, we live this. We're working every day. We see the same thing. It's real. But now just the get out and have something that's a little different than reality. Oh, that'd be great. That'd get me out of the house any day.
Where are you based, by the way?
Huh?
Where are you? Where do you live?
Illinois.
Yeah, what city? Illinois. Nice.
Yep.
Chicago.
Yep.
Nice. You look pretty fit though. Like, I've seen like your other videos. Like, you look like you got some good arms on you, man.
Yeah, I try to. I weigh a solid 240. Can lift I can lift a couple stones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you in the game, man. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will be 100% down. And like I said, we'll have to chat before you leave to go your next thing about what I talked about earlier. But thanks for coming on. Since we definitely did not even come close to what we could have talked about. I'll have to also bring you on again soon, maybe when things slow down, with maybe another person that also wants to hear more stuff about. Because like I have Ruck Up VR that's been in the chat this whole entire time, who also is helping. He sponsors Havoc as well, which his link is in our Discord. I'm not Discord, in our description as well. But he said come to Vancouver. He said he doesn't want to go to Montreal. So
yeah, Ruck Up is cool. Like we've been DMing each other and stuff too, and like it's always that East Coast versus West Coast. Like we've got a few ideas, but we definitely want to take stuff on tour. We might pass by. Vancouver is not as likely. It's more likely to be like Montreal, New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Boston. Like, they're interesting too. You know what I mean? Like, Vancouver, the sushi's great.
Yeah.
So far, we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe if they want to sponsor it.
Yeah, right.
Ruck Up, if you want to sponsor it, we'll be there.
But yeah, if you come to Chicago, I'll definitely be there to do that, because then my wife would go too and just shop the whole time while I played video games. So it's a win-win.
I think she'll want to watch you on the sidelines.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right. She wants to watch me sweat.
Or she might want to play. Honestly, like I've seen a lot of like women crush. Yeah, then that's even better.
She hates games, but I think she might play that one 100%.
A lot of people that hate games love Arcadia.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
I just don't want to get
Dude,
you late to your meeting, so you
I
told me
know, I
where to
know.
shoot you at, so.
I know. It's my fault that I'm actually enjoying this conversation so much. I wish we could have gone on longer. Would love to come again. Appreciate the
Oh,
invite.
you're welcome.
You're really cool, Matt. Happy we got to chat and love seeing what you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
Love the jungle background
Oh,
too. No joke.
yeah. Wait till I get my new computer. I'm gonna get things like moving things. Maybe you'll see a tiger want to
Yeah.
attack us every once in a while, stalking us and things like that. But
I think you need a nice post of like how you set us up sitting at this table right at the beginning. Just a behind the scenes post of that. It's so good. If you recorded that, you should post that because that's just the fun stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, dude, awesome. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks for having me, and would love to chat again
Yeah,
sometime.
for sure. So everyone, see you next Monday, same time as always, 9 p.m. East. My guest is up in there. I've been up in there with guests, but other than that, all the sponsors that I have, they would be on the screen, but I deleted all my stuff recently, so I have nothing besides my own logo. Because if I didn't have my own logo, then shame on me. But everyone, have a good rest of your night, and thank you, Arcadia. Go watch it all. I mean, who doesn't want to see Arcadia? So,
Peace. Have a good one, man.
see
Cheers.
you.